Right now, while you are watching this video, there is a volcano inside the United States with magma pushing upward beneath it. This is not a volcano you have heard of before. It has no famous name, no thick Wikipedia page, no documented eruption in all of recorded human history. And the nearest working seismometer sits 27 kilometers away, which is about 17 miles, close enough to catch an echo, far too far to catch the truth. This is not science fiction. This is an active notice from the Alaska Volcano Observatory, live, right now, in this exact moment, while you listen to my voice. Its name is Kupreanof, and what is happening underneath it might be the most important test American volcanology is facing this year. Not because it is going to explode tomorrow, but because nobody is fully certain of anything with this mountain. Not even the scientists who are watching it every single day. Let me walk you through exactly what we know, what we do not know, and why this story is the complete opposite of what we covered about Yellowstone a few weeks ago. Tell me in the comments, do you live close to a volcano, or have you ever stood near one? Subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. Drop a like, and let us push this video to 5,000 likes so the algorithm puts this information in front of the people who need to see it. Now, let us get into the facts. Kupreanof sits on the Alaska Peninsula, a stratovolcano wrapped in ice, roughly 80 kilometers northeast of a small, isolated town called Sand Point. It stands 1,895 meters tall. And here is the first detail that should already make you uneasy. There is no confirmed historical record of Kupreanof ever erupting. Not one. In nearly 600,000 years of geological existence, scientists have only scattered, unconfirmed stories. A pilot who may have seen a small eruption back in 1987, a mariner who reported black smoke near the bay in 2015. That is the entire paper trail. This was not a well-studied volcano. It was a mountain almost nobody was watching until this year. It was in February of 2026 that regional seismographs, and notice that word, regional, not local, started picking up earthquakes coming from the Kupreanof area. Nothing dramatic at first, but over the following months, the activity kept climbing. By April, satellites began detecting sulfur dioxide, the gas known as SO2, rising at a rate of 100 to 1,000 tons a day. For comparison, the normal background level for a quiet volcano sits under 100 tons a day. This mountain started breathing volcanic gas at up to 10 times the normal rate. In May, the Alaska Volcano Observatory raised the alert to yellow, level 2 out of 4. In June came the piece of evidence that closed the loop. Satellite radar images showed the ground around the volcano swelling, rising, literally being pushed upward from below. The source of that swelling sits about 6 kilometers underground. 3 separate lines of evidence lining up together, earthquakes, gas, and now ground deformation, is what scientists call a high-confidence diagnosis. Matt Haney, the scientist in charge at the observatory, put it plainly. This is a magmatic intrusion. Real magma, actually rising, underneath a mountain that nobody fully understands. Here is the turn in this story, the part that connects it to what we already told you about Yellowstone. Remember that when the hydrothermal explosion happened at Yellowstone back in June, the detail that stunned everyone was that there was a monitoring station sitting just 100 meters away. A seismometer, an infrasound sensor, a camera, and a temperature probe, all capturing the event in real time, with a level of precision science had never had before. Kupreanof is the exact opposite of that. There is no local monitoring network on this volcano at all. Zero. The nearest working seismometer sits 27 kilometers away, and it does not even belong to this mountain. It belongs to the network watching a different volcano, Mount Kupreanof. That means any earthquake weaker than magnitude 2 simply goes undetected. And the earthquakes that are picked up come with a huge margin of error in their location because they are being caught from far away through instruments that were never designed to watch this specific peak. Think about that for a second. A volcano with no documented eruption in its entire history, one nobody knows the full behavior of, starts showing stronger signs, and the only way to know is a sensor almost 30 kilometers off, listening for a faint echo of something that might be happening far closer to the surface than anyone can confirm. Hannah Dieterich, a volcanologist with the observatory, admitted something with a rare kind of honesty for someone working in public science. We do not know everything this volcano is capable of. Volcanoes are creatures of habit. They tend to erupt the way they have erupted before. With no history to compare against, scientists are literally building the puzzle while it happens in front of them. Now, to be fair to the data, a magma intrusion does not guarantee an eruption. Quite the opposite. Magma pushes into volcanoes far more often than it actually breaks through to the surface. The most likely outcome, according to Dieterich herself, is that the magma simply stalls underground and Kupreanof goes quiet again, the same way it happened recently with Mount Spur near Anchorage. And the observatory itself states that if an eruption were ever going to happen, it is very likely there would be additional warning signs first. Since this volcano does not have an open pathway, it would need to break through more rock to reach the surface. But notice what that really means. The promise of advance warning exists in theory. In practice, with the monitoring network that exists today, actually catching that warning in time is a gamble. Let us be fair about the geography too. Kupreanof sits in a remote, isolated stretch of land, with no population living close to the mountain. If an eruption does happen, pyroclastic flows would only reach uninhabited areas. But the observatory's own report is clear. Those flows would likely trigger lahars, the mud flows of volcanic debris that can fill river valleys to the north and south of the peak. And there is another risk that goes beyond the local geography entirely: the ash cloud. A volcanic eruption in Alaska creates a problem that reaches far beyond Alaska. Volcanic ash suspended in the air is one of the most serious threats that exists for commercial aviation. Alaska sits under one of the busiest flight corridors between North America and Asia. It is no coincidence that a volcanic ash advisory center watches this exact region 24 hours a day. If Kupreanof ever sends up an ash column tall enough, the problem stops being just geological and becomes logistical, international, and immediate. And here is the cruel irony buried inside this whole story. The same isolation that keeps human lives safe from a direct hit is exactly what left this volcano so poorly watched in the first place. Nobody pours money into a local seismic network to protect land where nobody lives. Not until the day a volcano with no history decides to write its very first chapter, right in front of instruments too far away to catch the details. As of this week, the observatory is still tracking low-level unrest at Kupreanof day after day, with no sign that an eruption is imminent. They have talked about using a helicopter to drop a quick deployment monitoring station on the mountain, piggybacking on a trip already planned for a nearby peak. That still has not happened. Until it does, the volcano that may be about to write the first documented eruption of its entire existence keeps being watched from a distance, by instruments listening for a faint echo of something that might be happening far closer to the surface than anyone can confirm right now. Yellowstone showed us what science can capture when it is standing right next to the event. Kupreanof is showing us the opposite, what science still cannot see, even while knowing for a fact that something is moving down there. We are going to keep tracking every update from the observatory on this one. If the alert level changes, you will hear it here first. Subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments, do you think remote volcanoes like this one deserve more sensors, even with no population living nearby? See you in the next video.